Well, good afternoon and thanks for joining us. I'm Judy Simpson. It's the first Thursday of the month, which means that we are in the kitchen with Across the Fence. I'm joined by Carolyn Peak from Williamstown, along with Deb Plumley and Lynn Jarvis from South Hero. They've prepared some tasty recipes for special needs. First, we want to announce the winners of the drawing for the Cooking Close to Home cookbook. Congratulations go to Mr. and Mrs. Hugh McNeil of Newport. You'll be receiving your cookbook by mail. Well, this month, one of you lucky viewers will win this cookbook, Sharing Recipes. It has nearly 400 recipes, all of them from Vermonters who live in the Northeast Kingdom. There are some really great recipes in the book. I'll tell you how you can enter our free drawing at the end of today's show. Also this afternoon, we salute some of you men who are loyal viewers and like to cook, including Art Renaud from Georgia, Ed Williams over in Lebanon, New Hampshire, Bill Glenn down in Shrewsbury, and Robert Howard from Waitsfield. We also salute Jess Pastor from Hyde Park, Robert Unkert from Craftsbury Common, Dan Franks from Stowe, Alfred St. Hilaire from St. Albans, and Jeffrey Tucker from South Burlington. Well, Deb, you're up first. It looks like you've got plenty to talk about.
Yes, and we have a bounty to share today.
Beautiful.
So let me get right into it. So this easy-to-make upside-down pizza was sent in by Gordon Brown of Lennoxville, Quebec. It's both tasty and gluten and lactose-free. And I have a serving here to show you where it's actually flipped upside down. Ground beef is browned with onions. Stir in pizza sauce and herbs and pour into a 9 by 13 pan. Top with lactose-free shredded mozzarella cheese. And then you make your pizza crust by mixing gluten-free flour, lactose-free milk, oil, and eggs. Pour over the ground beef. Bake at 350 degrees for about 30 minutes. As you can see, this lovely cheesy crust is formed on the top, and the ground beef mixture is on the bottom. This is just delicious, and I want to thank Gordon for sending in this recipe to share with us today. So let's move on to some desserts here. This is a very interesting recipe that I believe originates from the Civil War era. It is called an eggless, milkless, butterless cake. Boil together water, raisins, spices, brown sugar, and shortening. It's going to make a little bit of a thick syrup. Let it cool slightly, then add flour, baking powder, and vanilla. Cook in an 8-inch pan for about an hour. I love that you can mix this all up in the saucepan and only dirty one dish. You may serve these bars as is, or I chose to frost the cake with a simple glaze of confectionery sugar, orange extract, and grated orange peel, and just add some water till you get it to the desired consistency. So this was really fun to do and kind of a challenge because no eggs, no milk, and no butter. So that was fun. Now with the holidays coming up, I thought of pumpkin. And this gluten-free pumpkin cake makes a lovely addition to your dessert table. I use the gluten-free yellow cake mix as the base, and this cake goes together very quickly. You mix in canned pumpkin puree, or you could make your own, with 5 eggs, vegetable oil, and molasses. Whisk in your cake mix, cornstarch, baking soda, and spices. Bake this in a bundt pan for about 50 minutes. Let it cool, remove from the pan, and I frosted it with a cinnamon cider glaze that you make with confectionery sugar, a little bit of cinnamon, and of course cider. And this is wonderful for your dessert table. And maybe when you're thinking about pumpkin pie for the folks that can't have the gluten, this would be something nice to make for them. And I have to tell you, when it's baking, your kitchen will smell wonderful. Now my final dessert, of course, uses apples. And these baked apples are dairy-free and flour-free. It's good to use a nice firm apple. I chose Cortland's. Those are an apple that's pretty easy to find anywhere. You wash them, core them, Don't core all the way through. You want to leave a little bit of the base to hold the apple together. And when you peel them, if you can see this here, I'm going to tip it up a bit. You only want to peel the top half of the apple. You want to leave the bottom half to hold the apple in place while you bake it. Your filling is simply butter, cinnamon, and walnuts. Press that together with some brown sugar as well. Fill the center of it, and when it bakes, it's going to caramelize the top. I've got a little bit of cider that I baked them in. That's wonderful, spooned over the top. So this is a great break from apple pie, and I hope you viewers give it a try. Now, Carolyn, I have to say, as I'm here, I can see out of the corner of my eye that chocolatey looking thing.
Well, I'm going to leave that for last if I can keep from drooling too much.
Well, great.
Well, I found quite a number of recipes that could be used for special diets and everything. My first one, and the problem on these is that when they're cooked on one day and then they are brought in, traveling from Williamstown to here, they don't stay as crisp as they would. But these are butternut squash fries. Now you talk about your potato fries or your sweet potato fries. These are butternut squash, and they are very, very good. I will tell you that. Very easy to make. You just put them in a pan, put them in the oven, and so you don't have the extra fat and everything that a regular French fry would have. Now over here in this corner, and I'm going to try to work so that the camera can still see me. This is called Paleo Spaghetti Pie, and it is grain, gluten, and dairy free. And you start out with a spaghetti squash, and you cook that. I'm going to kind of turn this over so you can see the spaghetti squash. But you cook that up, take it out of the shell, and then you have, in your frying pan, you're doing turkey sausage, onion, pizza sauce, baby spinach leaves, red pepper, some applesauce, unsweetened applesauce, and then some herbs to go into it. You put everything into the pan. You have some eggs that you beat up and pour over the whole thing, and then bake it. And you've got a really nice thing so that someone who can't have the flour or something like that is all set to eat with you. Next, I have roasted Brussels sprouts with ham and garlic. And this is just cutting up. I used little baby Brussels sprouts, cut them in half, put them into your pan with some cut up ham and some lemon juice and oil and some garlic. Cook that up, and you've got a really nice vegetable that anybody can have. Now, my next one is barbecued beef in the crock pot. Wouldn't you know it? This is from Kay Wilbur in West Hartford, Vermont. And you just cook your meat till it's done. You pull it apart and put it back into it's cooked in a barbecue type sauce. And you'd serve it on a gluten-free bun so that somebody with the gluten problem can have it, and you're all set. Now, here we go with a garbanzo bean chocolate cake. This is gluten-free. I'm going to put a piece onto my plate so you can see what it looks like. I cooked it in a pie plate, but you could cook it in most anything. And then I put a chocolate kind of frosting glaze on top. You could put just confectioner sugar. We tried a little bit of it when I cooked it. It was delicious, and I'm going to take this with me and eat it off camera.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Carolyn. I do not suffer from food allergies, but while preparing for the show today, I discovered there are many alternatives for those of you who do. I found there is gluten-free flour, oatmeal, bread, crackers, and even stuffing mix. I found lactose-free milk, butter, yogurt, and even cream cheese. But to the best of my knowledge, there are no lactose-free products for mushroom soup that I'll use in 2 of my recipes today. So I have included in our collection a recipe for galactose-free cream of mushroom soup, and a condensed milk recipe. So let's begin with something from the TV show Cook's Country. It's called a creamless tomato soup. And they say, and I quote, plain tomato soup can be thin and sharp. Adding cream, the usual stodgy ingredient, merely dulls it. So to tame the tartness without losing the flavor, they discovered of all things that 3 slices of sandwich bread was just what was needed. And here it is, a creamless, creamy tomato soup. Now, along with the tomatoes, there's the bread in here, as I mentioned. There's chicken broth, onions, garlic, and spices. You can top with croutons, and I'm going to top it with some chives from my garden, and there you can take a look at it. And so here you have a lactose-free soup from the Test Kitchen and the chefs at America's Test Kitchen, that TV show that's on PBS. Now I'm going to move on to a recipe that's been in my family for many years. My mother used to make it, so we had it at home, and it was always a favorite at church suppers. And it's her egg and ham supreme. And this is that recipe where you're going to need to use that lactose-free that I told you about, the mushroom soup. And it starts with 6 boiled eggs, then you separate them and mash up the eggs and the yolks, and then you chop up some ham and take some cracker crumbs and mix it with melted butter, and then you layer everything together. And I'm going to top it with a little bit of mustard, because I like that little bit of mustard flavor. So here you go, but that's optional. It's up to you. You can do whatever you want. So here we have a recipe that's been in my family for many years, and I hope you will enjoy it. Now, my next recipe comes from reviewer Lucille Curtis of Springfield, Vermont, and it's her turkey broccoli casserole. And with Thanksgiving 3 weeks from today, you might want to use this to use up your turkey leftovers. Now, it's simple. You make it by layering some broccoli, turkey, the soup, grated cheddar. You can use the lactose-free cheese. And then you prepare the stuffing mix indicated on the box and put it on top and bake everything at 350 for about 30 minutes till it's hot and bubbly. And I like to serve it with some cranberry sauce. And here you see what a nice serving this is. You put your cranberry sauce along with your stuffing and your broccoli and your turkey. A wonderful meal. And we certainly thank Lucille for sending that in. Now, with all the football games coming up over the Thanksgiving holidays, here's a chicken wing recipe with a real flavor of Vermont. It comes from Mark Wiley of Swanton. It's his maple chicken wings, and they're baked and stirred and flavored with maple syrup and barbecue sauce. And you can put in as much hot sauce as you want, but however you make these, they're much less expensive than going to the grocery store or the deli to buy them. Maple chicken wings. Now, Janet Foster of Barrie sent me her old-fashioned date loaf recipe. Now, I enjoy cooking with dates and thought this would be another nice recipe to use for your Thanksgiving dinner. And here it is. It's made with dates, chopped nuts, spices, flour, and moistened with yogurt. And I used a vanilla-flavored yogurt, which I think gave it a real nice flavor. It makes 2 loaves of this size or 4 small ones, so you could give 1 away or put them in the freezer for later use. And finally, I have a recipe that I'm really addicted to. I can't keep my hands off them. They're my white chocolate apricot oatmeal cookies, and here they are. They're just delicious, easy to make, and the flavors blend really well together. These are great for bake sales or after church or school get-togethers, but bring a recipe, as people are going to really want to get that recipe from you. And Judy, do I have time to just mention a couple people?
Sure, quickly.
Another of our men's chefs is Charlie Farnsworth of Whitehall, Witherby, New York, and he's a subscription member, and we had a nice note from Linda Bullock of St. Johnsbury.
Nice.
Jerry Maitner from South Burlington, who's been washing since 1977. And this is Edith Slayton from Jonesville, 83 years young, who still loves to cook. Violet Hobart from Underhill, 85 years young.
Excellent.
And she'll be doing the Thanksgiving dinner. And we're very happy to hear from all of our viewers of how much Across the Fence has meant to them over the years.
Yeah, it's wonderful. Well, as always, we have a couple of different ways for you to get the recipes. You can find them online at Across the Fence website. Go to uvm.edu/extension. Click on the link to Across the Fence and you'll find the recipes on the left-hand side of the page. To get the recipes by mail, send $2 and a stamped self-addressed business-size envelope to Recipes, Box 188, South Hero, Vermont 05486. And please remember, if you're ordering recipes by mail, include $2 and a stamped self-addressed envelope. Your envelope will be used in the free drawing for the Sharing Recipes cookbook. If you're not ordering today, you can use this address to be part of the free drawing to enter. Just send along your name and address. We'll announce the winner next month. Good luck to all of you. And thanks to all of our chefs today for preparing these tasty, delicious recipes. We'll be back in the kitchen on December 3rd, if you can believe it, for holiday recipes. In the meantime, from all of us here at Across the Fence, have a happy Thanksgiving.